These old plane wrecks were all found, sometimes many years after going missing. In 2018, a melting glacier in Switzerland yielded a U.S. military plane from 1946 named the Dakota. Receding ice from a summer heat wave revealed wreckage strewn across the Gauley Glacier. The C-53 Skytrooper crash-landed in the Bernese Alps 1 year after the end of World War II. It came to rest at an altitude of nearly 11,000 feet. The crash sparked a massive rescue mission. After nearly a week, the Dakota's 8 passengers and 4 crew were brought out alive. Another melting glacier in Alaska is a grimmer sight, however. In 1952, a C-124 Air Force cargo plane crashed into Mountain Gannett, killing all 52 people aboard. A National Guard helicopter spotted its wreckage in 2012. Every year since then, in the warm months, volunteers sift for remains from the crash. They're working to ensure that the rocky ice terrain will not be the fallen service members' final resting place. In 2022, a melting glacier in Switzerland revealed the remnants of a plane crash from the 1960s. Dominique Nellen, a mountain guide, made the discovery while on a trek up the Altesh Glacier. Reports say the plane crashed in the Alps in 1968 and was never recovered. The melting ice revealed parts of the plane, including passenger seats and a tin of skin cream. But local mountaineers say they're more concerned with what caused them to find the plane: climate change.
The glaciers are disappearing. They say when it continues like this, in the year 2090, they will be only remaining 10% of the glacier.
We can see the problem up here. It's for the whole Europe or for the whole world because of the water. Not only we need the water, whole Europe needs the water from here.
Experts say we could start to see some glaciers disappear within 15 years if this problem isn't addressed immediately.
Oh my gosh. Look at this.
In 2021, the wreckage of TWA Flight 800 was painstakingly put together after it crashed into Long Island Sound in New York over 2 decades earlier.
This is amazing.
The wreckage was located in a hangar outside Washington, D.C., where access is strictly controlled. Stephen Fabian has more.
But this is the last time we'll ever see the plane. The NTSB has decided that the wreckage has served its purpose and it will be officially decommissioned. It will be taken apart very carefully and the pieces will be destroyed as a mark of respect to the 230 passengers and crew who lost their lives in the disaster.
We'll be doing a scan of it so that it can be used for virtual training.
The Boeing 747 crashed on July 17, 1996, moments after it took off from JFK Airport bound for Paris. At first, the cause of the crash was a mystery.
Speculation has run from catastrophic engine failure to a bomb as the cause.
Investigators finally determined the fuel tank exploded due to an electrical spark. For years, the reconstruction was used as a teaching tool for aircraft investigators around the world.
The reconstruction is really a testament to the thoroughness of the investigation.
Joe Lichner lost his wife Pam and their daughter Shannon and Katie in the crash.
My number one priority now is just to recover their bodies and take them home.
After all these years, they're finally going to destroy the remains of Flight 800. What's your reaction to that?
The way I feel about it is, if your family dies in a car accident, you don't keep the car around as a memorial to your family. It served its purpose and it should be destroyed.
In 2023, a World War II airman was finally accounted for. U.S. Army Air Forces Sergeant Irving R. Newman was just 22 when the plane he was in went down off the coast of Malta in the Mediterranean. He was the only person on board the bomber who didn't survive the crash.
Despite the pilot doing his best to land on Malta, he ended up ditching the plane on the sea off Marsa-Shlock Bay, and out of the 10 crew on board, 9 made it out and were rescued by the RAF rescue launch, and 1 went down with the plane.
Maritime archaeologists from the University of Malta used sonar technology to recreate the wreckage as a 3D model. The remains were located in 2019, when researchers matched a sample of mitochondrial DNA that confirmed Newman's identity. It was a years-long effort, but researchers say they were happy to help.
This humility and honor drove every single one of us to go beyond the call of duty, to do our best to get this boy home. It must be one of the most satisfying things that the team has done to date.
In 2017, 70 years after his death, the remains of World War II fighter pilot Lieutenant William Gray were finally returned to his family.
To watch all those people honor this fallen soldier come home 72 years later.
Gray's remains were found in a tree in Germany, where witnesses say they saw his plane go down in April 1945. This Western Union wire shows the date he was reported missing.
We had no idea he would be coming home. We had no idea they were even searching for him.
Gray's family discovered his scrapbook full of adventures and stories from his training days. He enlisted at the time with his best buddy Jim Louvier, who made it home. Louvier eventually married Gray's younger sister. Louvier's daughter didn't know what to do with his ashes until now.
We wondered for 7 years, and now we know exactly why. Immediately we thought, we want to bury them together, my dad and Bill. It was a huge piece as well.
Louvier and Greg were side by side together at Tahoma National Cemetery.
I mean, she's America's favorite missing person, right? As long as she's missing, there's always going to be somebody out there searching.
In January of 2024, the CEO of Deep Sea Vision says he believed his team found the plane Amelia Earhart was flying when she disappeared.
We started by examining her final flight, her flight path. We analyzed the winds, her altitude, all the information that we had, and we came up with an area that we thought was reasonable and the highest probability for where she could have went down.
He says this sonar image of an object on the floor of the Pacific Ocean, about 100 miles from Earhart's intended destination, shares many of the same traits as her aircraft. More exploration and imaging will need to be done to prove whether or not it was her plane, but this team says they're hoping to bring closure to this story of an American hero.
You know, she was a fantastic person, a pioneer in the aviation field, early advocate for women's rights, and a terrific author, by the way. A lot of people know that about her. And so if we can help bring closure to this story and bring Amelia home, we'd be super excited.
On a snowy night in January of 1971, a plane disappeared in Vermont, not to be seen again until 2024. The small corporate jet carrying 5 people mysteriously vanished. It never arrived at its destination, Providence, Rhode Island. Dozens of searches ensued, but the plane and its passengers and crew were never spotted. Experts now believe they found the wreckage of the long-lost jet at the bottom of Lake Champlain.
To have this found now is it's a peaceful feeling. At the same time, it's a very sad feeling. I mean, we know what happened. We've seen a couple of photos where we're struggling, I think, with that now. You know, the fantasy of maybe them sipping cocktails somewhere is gone. And that was, you know, we would joke about that. It's like, oh, maybe they're stranded on some island somewhere. They're sipping cocktails. And, you know, those are silly fantasies that you have. And we always knew the reality. But now the reality is here. And it's difficult and it's very sad.
The lake froze over 4 days after the plane was lost, making search and recovery nearly impossible.
I'm feeling a lot of sense of relief because spending 53 years not knowing if, you know, the plane was in the lake or maybe on a mountainside around there somewhere was distressing. And I again, I'm feeling relieved that I know where the plane is now, but unfortunately it's opened up other questions and we have to work on those now.
The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating to verify if it's the plane. Family members of the victims say they plan to hold a memorial now that they know the plane's location. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.